If you had all the money you ever needed, would you still work?
Definitely not.
Their loyalty spans are very, very short.
I've been laid off multiple times and I'd
Wow.
only been at the position 3 months. They just think my ideas are so absurd.
It comes across to me as, how do we do less work?
I think you guys are stubborn.
Because we use technology for a lot of things that we're lazy.
I'm not sure you value how hard you have to work.
What's the worst thing about my generation?
Can Gen Z and baby boomers get along in the workplace? To find out, we paired 6 strangers back to back for an unfiltered conversation about work culture.
What misconceptions do you think people have about the way your generation works?
Well, I think the easy one is Gen Zers can be seen as lazy or not willing to work as hard.
And that technology is doing all the work for us, which I don't think is the case. Kind of like a get in, get out mentality of like, I'm just here to get money and I don't care about anything else. I think it's just a little bit of a pushback against like companies that ask for a lot more work for the same amount of pay.
I don't feel like Gen Zers are lazy at all. I think they're full of ambition, but it's just in a different way. It's maybe more myopic. I don't know, like
Yeah.
not what's good for the company, but what works for me.
The boomer generation and older people tended to place more emphasis on work and position and promotions and those kinds of things.
The work-life balance is different now.
I think that's what a lot of Gen Z only know is work-life balance and working a lot smarter than harder. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of baby boomers and millennials like myself, all we know is about grind. You come in early, you stay later. You go the extra mile. That's what we know. I think millennials have this very good sweet spot to bridge that gap between the two. I think, yes, baby boomers and Gen Zs can work very well together.
We were like growing up, we were able to see that in our parents and grandparents and just how much they worked and how much stress that they were under. And I think a lot of us just don't want the pressure of that.
We, as Gen Z, have a fear of being given way too much if we express too much curiosity and intelligence, I guess. And so I understand where like our fear is with that.
I've seen that just as being female. Women feel like if they say no, that it's going to hurt their career. And
Yeah.
so they say yes, 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 until they have way too much on their plate. It's very important to learn when to pull back.
Probably nothing drives a boomer more crazy than when a younger person grabs the mouse or grabs their phone and says, let me do this for you.
Someone said to me, no one would expect you to know Excel as well as you do because of your age and your gender.
Really? They said that to your face?
Yeah, but it was just in fun. Gen Zers might not see that baby boomers do want to move forward with technology.
We should probably be a little more patient and understanding, like you said. Like, we grew up with this technology, and you guys like came in the middle of your lives, and you've had to like adapt to it.
Do you believe loyalty exists in the corporate world?
Maybe less so in this day and age. Nowadays, it very much feels like this corporate greed.
I've never felt like I needed to be loyal to a company for any reason. Being loyal to a company can get you to places to an extent, like climbing up the corporate ladder or making connections or keeping the connections you've had for a really long time. I wouldn't sacrifice my own morals or my own wants and needs for a company's.
Maybe employees are now just an expendable resource to some of these bigger corporations.
I go back to my earlier careers, and you really felt safe all the time. And as time moved forward through the 90s and the dot-com bubble and all the other things that started to happen, it felt more and more like it was the corporations were less loyal, therefore we will be less loyal.
I feel like Gen Z.
He has a good point. Things have changed, and it's true what he said about work-life balance. It's very important. But also, if you can be lucky, blessed enough to find a job that you love doing what you do. So if you don't like what you're doing, you feel miserable, no matter how bad the work is, or like no matter what you're gonna do. It's like you don't like where you're working at anyway. So it's just like that none of that even matters. But if you can find somewhere where you love what you're doing, where you get lost in your work, where you just feel like, man, I wake up and I'm excited for what I get to do. I may have an offer for this candidate, or I have this project going on that's about to complete, or I'm able to help this kid grow and improve. Or I'm able to be a lawyer and get this case fulfilled. So if you are blessed enough, and maybe you can just start looking for the great things that's in your current position, what you're doing right now. Look for the positive situation in your job. Look for the good things. Build up on those things, and those things will expand and grow. So that's my take on that. But let's get back to it.
Was that so hard? I've been laid off multiple times and I'd only been at the position 3 months. It's that Gen Z worry of being exploited or cut off with no notice that it's like, I don't want to put my everything into it.
I have felt in the past when I've had to give a name and have someone laid off that I've been disloyal to that person.
Yeah.
It's painful.
I think Gen Z looks at layoffs as a lot more of an evil. Why can't that company be loyal to these employees? And I think boomers look at layoffs as we've got a business to run. If we're not solvent, if we don't get our expenses under control, we're not going to be around to allow anybody to have any jobs.
Job security is a hard and scary thing that a lot of people go through. Your job can now be taken over by AI. There is just no guarantee that your position is safe. I don't think people even have the opportunity to be loyal to a company if they even wanted to.
Do you think your generation has it easier than mine?
No. No, we're the ones that, walked uphill 10 miles in the snow to school.
I think as far as a career goes, I think that boomers had it a bit harder than Gen Zs. I think there was more demand on them, on their time. It was so much less flexible.
I would argue that the job market.
Well, they talked about the job unsecurity, or just not being unsure if you're the security in having a job. So me being a tech recruiter, I absolutely love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. But the one thing that I dislike about my job is having to fire someone or to let someone know that they didn't get hired on. So some people go through 4, sometimes 5 round interviews. Not most people, most interviews are 2 or 3 round interview process, but some people go through 4 round interview process, flown in from across the country, interview with the manager, just excited, thinking about relocating themselves, relocating their family, have all this planned, thinking about selling their home, thinking about where they're going to buy a home in a new place where they're going to accept the offer, accept the job, and all to find out they don't get an offer. Or someone gets fired unexpectedly as well, and they thinking, oh man, I was doing great, my performance was amazing. Why? Where did this come from? I have bills to pay, and I got to be the person to make that call. Those are tough. So I get it, I get it. But like the gentleman said, it's a business. Sometimes it comes down to just the numbers.
Market is a little bit harder now. Like going to college and getting a degree, it doesn't pay off as much as it used to. These entry-level jobs they can't get because they don't have the experience.
We went through a recession in
That's true.
1980 and 1981, but then we had the Great Recession in 07 and 08, and we were going, everybody's shutting down, there's no jobs, what are we going to do? So I think every generation goes through these waves. Right now, I'd agree, job market's a bit rough.
I do think people think that this generation has it easier because of all of the advancements, but I don't think it's easier. There's like this pressure to make 6 figures by 22 and graduate in 4 years, and you have to do all these things while you're young. And I think that we're just always worried about not being good enough or not being on the right track.
Her saying that's called self-inflicted. Comparing yourself to others, trying to say, I need to make this certain amount of money. I need to do. No, you don't. You are in your own race. You are in competition with you. Whatever somebody else got going on, whatever successes they have, wherever they are in their life right now, that has nothing to do with you. Don't be jealous of them. Be thankful and be happy for them. So just focus on your page that's in your book, and you want to make this chapter be the best chapter of your current page that's in your life, that's in your book. And then when you turn that page, you can look back and like, hey, I did everything I could do in that chapter in my life to make it the best as possible as it could be. And we don't know what the next chapter has in store. So you don't know what the next chapter has in store for them. So just focus on you. And again, don't need to add any extra unnecessary pressure. Comparing yourself to the Joneses, comparing yourself to other people on Instagram, trying to impress other people, trying to impress someone who don't even like you. You don't even, come on now.
Companies owe their employees anything beyond a paycheck.
Yeah, a paycheck is great, but you're telling me I can't take a day off because I'm tired or I'm sick? Like, I think sometimes employers think that they own you and they forget that you're human. I just wish there was more of a work life balance. And I think employers could aid to that by being a little bit more understanding and compassionate.
I think companies should prioritize and invest in their employees' mental health. I mean, I've heard of studies they've done in Europe where they did like a 4-day work week. And even though they had a whole extra day that they weren't working, their productivity statistically increased.
4-day work week. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Working is a good thing. To think that, well, how do we taper it down? How do we do it comes across to me as how do we do less work? I don't think it's that good for society.
If I can work a 4-day work week and get just as much done as I would in a 5-day work week,
I would think you're a magician. If you get that done in 4 days and you tell me that you normally would have been 5 days, I'd take that fifth day and I'd say, okay, so now what could you get done? Well, you'd get done more. I don't think it's realistic to think I could do as much in 4 days as I could do in 5 days.
Future employers expect you to get a lot of experience from previous jobs, and if they aren't willing to give you those experiences and throw you in the deep end, or at least teach you, mentor you a little bit, then there's not a lot to gain from that experience or that position.
Yeah, I would
So,
agree.
yeah.
A lot of
And that is very true now. So a lot of people are wondering why, because I've got my degree, why I can't just go into a company and start right away and make this money, or why can't they train me? Why can't they show me the ropes? Won't they just show me how to do the job? And to be honest, no. They're looking for someone who's already been doing what they want you to do or want this position to be done for years, who have experience doing this and who can come in right away and bring in results. And even better, if you worked for a competitor company who maybe you can come over and bring some of those different ideas and thoughts over to their company. But in terms of spending their money to train you to hope that you will catch on and hope that you'll be able to bring some value when they can really hire someone on who's been in that same exact position that they're looking for, worked for a similar company, and they can hire you and come in right away and implement those different things that they were doing, or say, hey, I see y'all doing it this way. Why don't we tweak it and do it this way? That's what you're going up against right there. So if you want to know why, that's the reason why a manager or a company don't really want to train, hire someone on, because they would rather hire someone that can come in right away, come in and implement, come in and add value, come in and make savings, come in and make some sales, come in and streamline the process a lot better, come in and explain this here to the business stakeholders in a different way. So those are the reasons why. Let's get back to it.
people I manage are entry level,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's my job to launch them.
Yeah.
Whatever their career goals are, even if they're outside of what they're currently doing or outside the scope or whatever, I want to help them
Yeah.
get there. And I feel like that's what employers really do owe their employees besides the paycheck.
So I'm a hard yes that companies owe a lot more. If you look at what motivates employees, money and the paycheck are really far down on the list. So for somebody to feel valued at work, to feel that they get the recognition that they deserve, not only from their boss, but from their boss's boss and their peers, it is huge.
just recognition or just making that known and nothing beyond that almost doesn't really mean much to me. If I'm looking at this company and let's say that project I did made all this money to them, like I would almost want to see like a little piece of that.
One of the challenges with money is it is so short term. So if somebody comes and says, hey, here's $100 for that project that you completed, or $1,000, whatever it is, you're pretty happy, but you're happy for about a week. And then you spent the money and you've kind of forgotten about that. I think regular recognition where inside my boss values what I do, he or she values the contribution that I make. I think that's something that creates a whole lot more loyalty between a company and an employee. Kind of going back to our original question, do we owe those employees something more than a paycheck? I absolutely think we do. And I think they're going to come to expect it more. And I think companies and people that manage teams need to step up and deliver those things.
What motivates you more? Money, passion, or stability?
The thing that motivates me more than anything else is seeing the people around me thrive. The passion of the people around me is what drives me.
At least at this point in my life, super easy. I jump to passion. I think that's the thing that from day one can be motivating to the day they put you in the ground.
I agree to an extent. I think I want passion to be the driver, but the way that the cost of living is just so expensive, it's like I kind of have to put that aside and really just be money driven.
If I had more money, I could have a house. I feel like I could provide more for a family. I think that, I guess this is getting into kind of another topic, but I just think like my value as a man is somewhat tied to the amount of money I have. It just opens a lot of doors that I may not have access to right now.
Oh, I like this.
The two older men seem to be well established, but the different mindsets that they have. It shows you what you focus on. Obviously, we all know money is important. Money is necessary. Money is required to pay for your rent, to pay for food, to pay for necessities, to travel, to do things. I understand that, but that is not the most important thing. Focus on what you're passionate about. And guess what will come? If you dive into your true passion and you go all in and pour into that, you know the result of what comes from that? Come on, honey. Come on, sugar. Come on, baby. Jeez. Listen to these.
This one. This is a fun question. You ready to rock?
I'm scared.
No, don't be scared. I got you. In the most unfiltered, uncensored way possible, what's the worst thing about my generation?
Okay, this is no offense to anyone in specific. It's very hard to get through to some baby boomers. They can be very, very hard-headed, and they're not willing to acclimate to this new generation.
The ones I've interacted with don't see that other people can work differently, live their life differently, and thrive.
They just think my ideas are so absurd.
If I had to answer with a criticism,
It's just the amount of time in front of a screen. I would say is the worst thing.
I'm not sure you value how hard you have to work to get to where you want to get to.
My answer isn't to nitpick an element of something that is done differently than the way I do it. It is in the idea that I'm not convinced that the generation and the people that I'm speaking of, and again, same thing with you, I'm speaking in generality, right? Believes that they can do more, believes it's not about that if they can find a way to take a bigger risk, that they could just fly and absolutely change everything because of the way they use technology and because of the things that they do. Just the beginning of that pursuit, even when it goes completely awry and completely wrong, is worth it so that you're never second guessing it and you don't leave this life with any regret.
Hey,
How's it going?
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Hello. You are not what I imagined at all.
Hello! You're so pretty. I love your hair.
I assume that you're comfortable and you should focus on, these deep value things when at your age, this is kind of Maslow's hierarchy. You're looking at, but wait a second, like, am I going to make enough money to have a viable career? Am I going to be able to buy a house? Can I buy a engagement ring for my girlfriend?
Yeah.
And I think that, for people that are older, we need to pay attention to that.
Guys, good job. That's it.
Cool.
Okay,
Great to
Whoa. That was all the vibes, all the feels. That was amazing. That just the advice, the energy, the respect, the truth, the honesty of it all, the authentic everyone was, the wisdom of the gentleman. Wow, that was special. That was amazing. So overall, dream bigger. That's the guy is saying dream bigger, knowing that you can do way more than what you think is possible. Just believe it and attempt it. And even if you were to stumble and fail, just taking that attempt, just knowing that you did, take those risks, take those possibilities, and I'm gonna be on the baby boom mindset. Work hard.